Public Works meeting for Wednesday, July the 7th to order. We'll have our roll call. Mr. Mayor?
Present.
Mr. Pott?
Here.
Mr. Spurlock?
Here.
Mr. Tauber?
Yes, ma'am, here.
And we have one of our council persons, Mr. Savage, in the audience. No public participation?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, first thing on our agenda is the fall paving. This is to consider potential fall paving projects. Mr. Spurlock?
Yeah, as in your packet, your agenda says we've got roughly $400,000 to spend on pavement maintenance and sidewalks from the urban maintenance program, which of course is limited to any roads in the state system. I've put together estimates on 4 projects, I'll call them, being Ridge Road, Cropper Street, Main from Misty Meadows up to the turnaround, and Division Street. These estimates are based on asphalt at $150 a ton. Asphalt market is very volatile right now, as you might imagine. Probably be September, October before we actually do any paving, so this price could be up some, could be down some, it could be right where it's at. And feel free to if you so inclined, but I don't think we need to, finalize a decision tonight. Like I said, these are potential projects, and I would like to get from you any ideas on other projects.
So we can bring this back later.
Yeah, well, eventually we'll put it out for bid. And bring it back to the committee, of course, and ultimately to full council to award a contract.
Well, I think probably if the rest of them agree, on our mind is the Ridge Road extension from Beebe's Ranch through to Main Street. So that means with this asphalt thing, you don't think they'll be able to get it done before September?
Getting the roads into the...
Just paving that road to put some kind
You're
of
talking
pavement.
about Ocean Breeze from BB Ranch to Main Street.
To Main Street.
I've looked at several options down there. The most cost-effective, I'll call it, is chip and tar. We could put 3 applications of chip and tar from basically BB Ranch out to Main Street for right around $20,000. And that's pretty much, 2 applications, 1 application, each one would be a third the cost. To compare it to asphalt, I did an estimate based on these same numbers with asphalt, you're looking at right at $50,000. $20,000, I'd call it worst case. There are parts of that road that could live without paving.
Right, yeah, I've seen some of them.
The challenge there is, you're all very well aware, there are no funds. There's nothing in the budget to do that. I guess VDOT has turned us down as far as getting it in the urban maintenance program this year.
For this cycle.
Yes, for this fiscal year. What I've given you here is our road maintenance policy. The main reason I gave it to you, it gives you all the criteria for getting roads in the system.
Would it help us with the urban maintenance program to bring it up to
State
not state code, but
standards?
bring it up so that it's easily maintained or
It
more
would
presentable?
The challenge I'm running into right now, the planner with VDOT, who does our work in this area, that makes these determinations, same as Michael Frazier. I've reached out to him multiple times. Cannot get a good explanation from him of why they were rejected. Mike and I were discussing this earlier today. It's time to, and I've also recently got Chris Isdale involved, and I'm sure Chris will help us. And if we don't get any answer from Chris, you know, we probably need to go up the ladder and,
Mhm.
obviously I can't fix it if I don't know why they reject it.
And we're reluctant to put any money toward this until we find out what improvements they want to see, because we don't want to spend the money foolishly.
Okay,
I get that.
an idea, if we get, Branscombe, are they gonna, produce any millings when they take the road? Are they gonna mill the road first?
Only if we do Cropper Street,
Okay, if we do Cropper Street and they
Yeah.
do millings,
yes.
can we put the millings down there just to,
We actually already have.
yeah, well, we had a big
All the
pile.
melons we've had in the back here
Yeah.
are pretty much down there.
Jeez.
They were put on the road in the rear, wasn't it?
Both,
Oh,
And they disappeared.
well, that's much better than it was.
Yeah,
but it
but
just
still,
was
it's-
very bad in that
yeah.
back area there.
For as
And I
much
think
use as it gets, it's,
the chip, there's a cost involved, obviously, the chip and tar is and he said, is a Band-Aid until we can get some, you know, and we probably realistically could do it for, you know, $10,000 to $12,000 to get it by until we do get an answer.
Passable.
The
But
problem
again-
I deal with, and Miss Ellen actually listened to the, you go down there and
You get dust.
people
Oh,
call
yeah.
all day long about the potholes, and you go down there and grade, and they call and complain about stirring up dust fixing potholes, so.
Mhm.
It's Marcia's car.
But again, and we would really like an answer from VDOT as to why they did not include those roads in the grant this year. That way we can focus our money toward making those specific improvements. And then next year, when they give us money, hopefully next year, we can put all of that money towards paving the road properly.
That, in line with that area, that road going down to Lakeview, have we got that on the radar? Cause that's in rough shape.
Yes,
And
you mean Main Street?
Main Street,
Yes.
yeah. We,
I wanna wait until they're done at Inlet View. I hate to put new asphalt down there and then.
have to have your trucks run over it and run it up.
Yeah. So yes, that is definitely on the radar, in addition to the road is the drainage down there.
and the idea for drainage there, Harvey and I have discussed the drainage down there. It would involve wedging that road up on the outside a little bit, and there's a catch basin involved. Mr. Burbridge has already given us a right of way to go across there and run water into his drainage area. So we have a place to go for it, we have a plan, but we would have to wedge that road up a little bit and create a ledge on the outside of it.
And is he, because the last plan I saw that they had, actually did have him using the existing entrance in the last plan I saw. Has that changed at all?
My understanding is that the new entrance is on the right just before you get there. Am I right, Harvey?
Last plan I saw, that may have changed.
But we
Yeah.
can certainly check on
I
that and
think
make
we
sure.
need to keep in close contact, because if he does intend to use that as his entrance, the old existing entrance, you know, we need to make that area a little more
Right?
Trailer friendly.
trailer friendly, because I mean, they're bringing in these 27, 30-foot boat center consoles now, and they're struggling, some of them doing that turn, and people coming out and so forth into our harbor, so.
So, Harvey, did you want us to look at these 5 that you have recommended here, or would you pick what you think?
Well, the bottom line item there, the small quantities,
Yeah,
that's pretty much a given. We need that. That's the money I use to go do, minor repairs all over the island.
potholes and stuff.
So you can deduct that from the 405. I kind of look at Division Street as almost a no-brainer.
Mhm.
There are 2 roads left on the island that are in the system which don't have asphalt and they have tar and chip. And one of them is Division Street, the other one's Woodland Drive, which is, what Harvey told me today, it's not been too long since we re-tar and chipped that. So Division Street would be the natural one left to go ahead and do.
Yep.
We did Rosedale, as you know, last year, and Division Street intersects that.
So, yeah, I guess what I'm requesting at this point is to consider these, the footnote with Cropper Street, you see there?
Mhm.
That's gonna depend a lot on what develops with the ARPA funds. That price, for, on Cropper Street is replacing all the sidewalks, replacing all the storm drains. You need to add about $40,000 to it to do the water main. Mike seems to think that, most of the water work and the storm drain work, and we don't know about the pavement would qualify for those funds.
Based on what I've read, I think the water line work and the storm, they have said storm drains or stormwater maintenance or infrastructure would qualify as well in ARPA. I think both of those would qualify under ARPA. Still some question as to whether we could do the overlying pavement with ARPA funds, the pavement that overlies the water line and storm drains. But if that's the case, then we can get the pavement as well. I would say that the sidewalks probably wouldn't qualify from what I've read right now. So therein lies another reason to put this off just a little bit, because after we have the hearing at the workshop meeting and the council's, after a few meetings, has decided what projects they'd like to do, we can decide whether to include this, and maybe there'll be some additional guidance on ARPA at that time. We can define exactly what will go in and what won't. It would be awfully nice to pay for some of that with some ARPA money.
Yeah. Committee had anything else?
So, but if you would, look around the aisle and see if you see something like that. And we can certainly add it to the shopping
Any
list.
possibility of widening Main Street from Misty Meadows North?
I've had people say, yes, I'll give my 5 foot. They're ready.
Yeah,
You know, the biggest problem with widening is actually the utility.
the utility lines, the power poles and the fire hydrants and everything else. Yeah, it was designed when we didn't have all the traffic up there. I
It was
mean,
designed for a horse cart. That
yeah, well,
Okay. The next thing on our agenda is the water master plan update. Harvey?
This kind of follows in the same category, but wait and see where we go with ARPA. Whitman Reichart has been the town's quote-unquote water engineer for a long time. They've got models for all our systems. They can call them up and say, well, what happens if we do this? And they get on the computer and give you pressures and so on and so forth. But we actually reached out to them. The town has a waterworks master plan. It's actually been 2 iterations, I think. The last one was in 2014. This is a proposal again from Whitman Reichart to update that master plan. And the reason I reached out to them is depending on how the old ARPA evolves, is to help us, the part that we want to invest in water, to show us where we can get the best bang for our buck. So the proposal there, and again, we may be on hold on that until after we have the public hearing and see what council desires as far as water improvements.
ARPA funds specifically says that we can use project planning. It does qualify for ARPA funds. Project planning for infrastructure projects is acceptable,
it sounds like this is small beans to the ARPA.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah.
and like I said, they've done it twice before, and they've done an outstanding job both times.
But if you'll recall, we also had a meeting with Whitman Reichart about a month ago, Harvey and I did, and asked them to look at our models and start developing some improvements, specifically some water line replacement projects that make sense in certain areas in anticipation of receiving some ARPA money for that. So they'll have some projects identified for us hopefully here shortly, where we can bring it to the council and say this is what we'd like to do, where we'd like to start. And we directed them to go look in areas that serve the most people, look in areas to replace water lines that serve the most people or in the most need.
Yeah. Well, it would be nice to replace all those asbestos
Transite pipes.
Transite, excuse me,
Transite pipes, yes.
yes.
Same difference.
Or ACM.
ACM. Yeah, it'd be nice to replace all that.
I don't think we'll have enough money for that, but
No, the whole,
we certainly,
It's a lot of it, but,
certainly can get a good start on it.
yeah. Goes down every street, doesn't it?
Not every street.
Mumford Street not.
Not now.
I've heard my father say many times they put 69,000 linear feet of pipe in.
All of Ocean Breeze is. Every bit of it.
Most of Maine is not, most of Willow is not. Actually, a lot of Church Street has been replaced, some of that's actually ductile iron. You get down on Church Street extended. So it's, but yes, there's
Yeah, still a lot of it.
still a lot of it.
And nothing wrong with it. Performs great and it may last a long time, but it's just the fact that this is a proactive replacement. Right.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of having Whitman Reichard on board now. Most of what's in the ground is 6 inch. They might get on the model and say,
Eight.
let's upgrade here to 8 or 10 or whatever and get better distribution around the island.
I'll save it for my comments.
Go ahead. You're on it.
Okay, all right, I'll start off the comments. I don't know if Public Works is the place to do it or not, but I think we seriously need to discuss dry hydrants for some areas of the island that only have a 4-inch water main, like up in Wildcat where the house burned down because the hydrant was dry. I know if they had had a hydrant to tap into, they could have more likely saved that house. And there's some other areas where I think a dry hydrant might work fairly well. So that's something we need to look into.
I will coordinate that with Mr. Rush.
It got brought to my attention again the other day, but
Does the fire department think they can manipulate the dry hydrants?
yep. Yeah, they think they can hook them right to their truck.
Yeah, well, we actually have several already.
Yeah. But up at Wildcat is one really bad place. I don't know about anywhere on South Main Street or over on Ponty Island.
What about Oyster Bay? Back in there?
I don't know what main, if it's a 4-inch main or 6-inch that goes into Oyster Bay.
I'm pretty sure it's 6 inch.
6.
Would this group be able to tell you where you would need a dry hydrant versus not? I would think if they give the hydrology information.
Yeah.
But
They
some-
certainly can take a look at the model and tell us where, based on the amount of water that was used in that specific incident, they can tell us where we're at risk of doing that same thing
Same
again.
thing we do.
Right.
And I mean, it was not just the fact that it didn't have a lot of water. I mean, the whole landscaping and everything else was a factor up there because they couldn't get their trucks in and whatnot. But I think it would be beneficial to the town to look into some dry hydrants.
Will do.
That's all I've got, thank you.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
You guys have anything?
No, ma'am?
Jack?
No pigs. No
No
pigs.
pig. No pot belly.
All the way home.
We will. Okay. Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.